Demon Souls begins with the Old One, an eldritch Great One, descending upon the earth. Once awakened, it inspires a hierarchy of demons dedicated to the retrieval of every soul in exchange for great power. In the evil ending, deep below the Nexus, every soul is given to the Old One, and a great fog blankets the world. Eons later, deep below a grey land covered in fog, 4 hollow beings discover an immense amount of souls, and the story of Dark Souls begins. The fog is dispersed, civilization is reborn, and souls flourish anew. However, the irrevocable poison of the Old One persists, and eventually humanity looks for an escape from this cursed world. They find a way out through a painted world of blood, and as the tale of Bloodborne begins, humanity creeps ever closer to the eldritch truth that they've forgotten, strengthened by the echoes of the past found within the blood. This is an argument for the shared timeline of the Soulsborne universe, and I'll be honest, it's kind of a lesson in how easy it can be to push an entertaining theory, just as long as you cherry-pick only the evidence that suits your narrative. It's really dishonest to tell a story in that way, but it is a lot of fun. So, from your perspective, I hope it's interesting for you to sort of try and find the gaps that I'm leaving in my logic. First, let's establish that the Old One is a Great One from Lovecraftian fiction. So the Great Ones, as described by H.P. Lovecraft, are cosmic deities that are so inconceivable and horrific to humanity that they often shatter the minds of those who encounter them. As an example of this, let me introduce you to these renditions of Azathoth and Shub-Niggurath, both of whom are very similar in some ways to the Old One of Demon Souls. So, Azathoth is commonly called the Nuclear Chaos, the blind, idiot god who resides at the center of the universe. He rules all time and space, yet his chaotic and really unpredictable, idiotic nature inspires this fear that he could accidentally bring about the end of the world at any time. According to Lovecraft, Azathoth is lulled by the thin, monotonous piping of a demonic flute, and many writers of Lovecraftian fiction take this music as an attempt to soothe Azathoth and his chaos into a dormant, lulled state. Similarly, of course, the Old One of Demon Souls also appears to lack intelligence. It's also wholly capable of bringing about the end of the world, as the last time it was awakened, it erased half the world in fog. This world was only saved by the efforts of the Monumentals, who lulled the Great One back to slumber and set about preserving the fabric of reality that remained. Sound familiar? Consider also Shub-Niggurath, mother of 1,000 young, who is depicted as this great floating entity made of mouths, tentacles, and lesser creatures that emerge from its body. This being is the subject of a lot of worship, and in fact, it consumes its most worthy worshippers and then spits them out as an immortal being. So again, this is not unlike our widely worshipped Old One, which is also a great floating entity which spawned all of demonkind, and one who consumes the slayer of demons at the end of the game in return for great power. In addition, like many of Bloodborne's Great Ones, the Old One comes from the ocean. Not only that, but like Lovecraft's Great Ones, the Old One's very nature cannot be fathomed by the living. And finally, there's a place called Latria in Demon Souls, which you should remember from your PTSD if you've played the game, and Latria is actually a theological term for worship. In this place, many have been evolved to a higher state of being thanks to their proximity to their god, who, it is revealed, is the Old One. And a lot of these transformations are definitely Lovecraftian in style. So, while I don't recommend you buy into this shared timeline theory that I'm peddling, one thing you absolutely can take from this is just how far back From Software's Lovecraftian inspirations go. It's the cosmic horror of the Old One that makes it such a great antagonist for Demon Souls, 100%. And once it lures you to its side in the evil ending, when all souls have been channeled into this unfathomable deposit of energy, when a grey, deep fog envelops the world, we have the perfect transition into the Dark Souls universe, where millennia later, it's easy to imagine latent hollows stumbling upon these souls of lords deep below the earth. These souls from the Old One have combusted to create the first flame, and when you think about it, the body of the Old One would have made for fantastic kindling. So these 4 husks inherit the condensed souls of the Old One deep below the earth, and with these they dispel the grey fog that's above them, because a soul, after all, as defined by the Monumental, is the essence with which living things comprehend the world around them. Fog actually represents a lack of clarity, and with souls, hollows are granted the clarity to pierce the fog. Demon Souls actually has one of the best and only definitions of the concepts of souls and fog in the Souls universe. And so a new world is created by the Lords, and the structure of this world is really similar to the world of Demon Souls. A core law of the world is that the strong will always dominate the weak, and souls will naturally coalesce towards powerful entities as a result of this. The Chosen Undead, the Bearer of the Curse, the Ashen One. Every iteration of this world moves towards a state of entropy where all the souls are held by one being, just like it did in Demon Souls. And this process is assisted by a maiden who's able to channel souls in every game. Perhaps it's no surprise that these maidens began to obscure their sight and dress in black over time, just like their ancestor once did. Notice how this new world also retains the twin arts of miracles and sorcery, and just like in Demon Souls, it's rumoured that both these arts share the same source. In Demon Souls, for example, the Talisman of Beasts reveals that both miracles and sorceries draw upon the power of the Old One. And in Dark Souls, there are items like Velka's Talisman, which reveal that miracles can indeed be cast with intelligence alone, and sorceries, paradoxically, with faith. You might ask, what is pyromancy, then? And even Demon Souls explains that, because Demon Souls had flame sorcery, and Dark Souls mentions that flame sorcery was once a thing. And of course, at the core of Dark Souls is the curse. In every age, there's this effort to gain insight into this cursed existence, as kings and scholars both attempt to look deeper into souls for answers and an escape. However,
the soul and the curse are one and the same.
The soul is the curse. The curse is irrevocably tied to the soul, reminding us of a certain poison that was placed upon the earth millennia ago. On the first day, mankind was granted a soul, and on the second, upon earth was planted an irrevocable poison, a soul-devouring demon. The curse is characterized by being soul-devouring, and the Old One's poison is irrevocable, just like the curse. And I think that when it consumed every soul in Demon Souls, for the Lords to eventually absorb at the start of Dark Souls, it became an inseparable part of souls themselves, a curse. A poison. The only thing that transcends the soul and the poison of the Old One is whatever God placed them there on the first and second day of creation. And so if one wants answers, one would have to glance towards the heavens. So as we move towards Bloodborne, consider Chester of Oolacile. He's dressed in a hunter's attire, he has rose daggers that cause bleeding, and he also favors a crossbow in a world without guns. Chester looks like he belongs in Yharnam, not Oolacile, and indeed perhaps he's proof that Yharnam is what the future holds.
Let me guess. Snatched by a shadowy limb and dragged off to the past? Yes, of course. Exactly what happened to me. We are both strangers in this strange land.
So if Bloodborne takes place in the future, how did the inhabitants of this world get there? How did they escape the curse of their own souls? And the answer, as characters in Souls slowly began to realize, was blood, a substance which is mentioned more and more as the series progresses. Get this, In Dark Souls 2, the Drakeblood Knights began to worship the blood of dragons, which they believed would allow them to understand life and transcend existence, concepts that are very familiar to Bloodborne players. In Dark Souls 3, the sacred blood of the wolf was spread amongst the Abyss Watchers, and their souls became one with the soul of the Wolf Blood Master. It's our first sign that blood is sort of a vessel for souls and the curse. In Ashes of Ariandel, we see blood's ability to appease the flame, just like a soul would. And in the Ringed City, the primal link to blood is confirmed, with Gale's consumption of the blood of the Dark Soul, and its subsequent retrieval for the creation of Aria's painting. So Vendrick believed that the answer to the curse lay within the soul itself, but in reality, to escape, we would have to understand that blood is a powerful human-defining resource, just like souls are. And so, with a world painted with the most primal blood imaginable, humanity separates their cursed souls from the blood, leaving the old ones poison behind and escaping the world of Dark Souls, traveling or born by blood to a new world where they can become closer to the insight that they crave. Symbolically, Yharnam ends up being built above the Chalice dungeons below, and many of these contain knights in plate armor from the medieval times of demons and Dark Souls. In this world of Bloodborne, blood alone contains the powerful echoes of the past, and the concept of a soul no longer exists. Hence, the curse no longer exists. Humanity, now relying on blood instead of the souls that they left behind, has escaped the irrevocable poison of the Old One, but they remain under the influence of Great Ones, just like it. Similar to how Demon Souls revolves directly around the Old One, the story of Bloodborne revolves directly around the revelations about the Great Ones, many of which can be extended to the Old One as well. The motivations of these elder beings are mysterious and they're incomprehensible to mankind, except for one thing: childbirth. The Great Ones crave children, yet paradoxically their children are always destined to die. To solve this problem, they often have surrogate children through humans. Viewed in this way, the Old One is no different to the Great Ones in Bloodborne. Think about it, it's an entity with the goal of grooming a child called a Slayer of Demons, and the Old One itself had to die as well in order for its poison to survive. Interestingly, there is an undeniable link to Demon Souls that ended up being cut from Bloodborne early in development, in the word Umbasa. In Demon Souls, Umbasa was a word of reverence that was often spoken by priests and miracle users. Listen to Gascoigne's dialogue, which was present in the network test.
Sick creature, may you rest in peace, Umbasa.
And to this random Yharnamite, extracted from the game's files only recently.
Give your blessing, and wash from us the blood of beasts, Umbasa.
The use of this word hints at a rediscovery of a god that was introduced in Demon Souls and lost in Dark Souls. A god that granted humans a soul, but also granted them the poison of the Old One. This was a litany of stories that eventually ended in the ascension of mankind in Bloodborne to a new eldritch childhood, where they are finally on even footing with the so-called gods that started it all. That does it for this video, which is probably like one of the most bizarre things I've ever made on this channel, because it was a strange experience for me. I just tried my hardest to sell you on something I don't really believe, and I ignored my logic a lot of the time when writing this script in order to sell it to you better. Did you think I was successful? Did I fail? Did you notice any difference compared to my other videos? I'd love to see you rip apart this theory in the comments. Please, go ahead. Remember, this was the most voted for video by patrons a couple of months ago, and I hope I delivered for you guys. So thanks to all of you guys who supported my channel back then and now. It's incredibly heartening to still have so many of you giving a couple of dollars to support something you love. I'll keep doing this, and I'll see you next time.